I have come to bring not peace, but the sword. And yet we call Jesus the Prince of Peace. And so he is. But what is his point today? Well, that you have to accept the truth that comes from God through him. And if you don't, if you'd rather stick to even your own family, your wife, your husband, your mother's, father's, children, he says, if you do that, then you will not receive the reward of heaven. That's pretty tough. They're pretty tough words for us. And yet the truth is the truth. It can't be set aside. And so we come here to try to witness to the truth in our daily lives. The most important thing is to love one another as God has loved us all. That's the biggest truth. That's the greatest of the commandments. To love one another as I have loved you. And how much did he love us? Well, he allowed him to undergo the sword, if you will, to hang on a cross so that you and I might have the hope of everlasting life. Today, in our first reading, which comes from the book of Exodus, almost the beginning of the book of Exodus, in the sense that we hear about another one who will give us freedom. Jesus gives us freedom, but yet, if we follow that freedom, it may bring persecution as well. But we hear about one who God will call to himself. And this week we'll hear about Moses. Moses. He was drawn out of the water. We hear the beginnings of that, where Pharaoh says, kill all the little boys, all the male babies of the Israelites. Throw them into the river, drown them, but not the girls. And so we know the story how, Pharaoh's daughter, who was without child, takes Moses from a wicker basket that was lined with bitumen. It was kind of like a tar, so it wouldn't sink. And his mother places him in the basket and puts him out onto the river Nile. Of course, Pharaoh's daughter will take this little guy and raise him as an Egyptian, but his true calling was to be the mouthpiece of God. He would become the liberator for the Hebrews, but only in a physical sense. We know that whole story. We'll be hearing about that this week, but Jesus Christ is the one that liberates us from our true enemy, that is Satan, sin, and death. And so you and I come here to witness to our faith. Some of us have people in our own families, me included, where kind of walked away from the church. Does that mean you hate them? Absolutely not. You love them, but you also set a good example for them and you talk to them. And you may become their enemies in a sense because you're witnessing to your faith. But that doesn't give us the opportunity to hate them or to do harm to them. Rather, we love them and we encourage them and we pray for them. Just as we do for the leaders of this world and all those others out there that kind of rejected faith, rejected God, rejected the church. But nonetheless, we still try to witness to our faith. Just as Moses was called, drawn out from the water, so you and I are drawn out from the waters of baptism to witness to our faith. And so today we come here thanking God for his living word and the sacrament is Jesus' most sacred body and blood. It affords us the opportunity to witness to his goodness and love in our daily lives.